Well, Gary, it's been a long time. We're back.
Should I start the show?
No, we just did. We're on the air.
Okay. So hi, I'm Gary Kroger. Okay. I always say it's the Gary and Kenny show. I think that's somewhat relevant.
Well, that's okay.
You didn't say that. All right. Whatever. No, you didn't. Why is my light going on and off like this?
I don't know, but let's start again because that was
No,
awful.
I liked that start.
No,
I thought it was
no.
Seriously. Who gives a shit? Which brings me to my point.
You have a point.
Yeah. Kenny, I love doing this show, and we've been doing it for a couple of years now. And I actually think that we have a wonderful rapport, and a lot of people
Are you breaking up with me?
No, I'm not breaking up with you.
Oh.
Although the light is weird. It like some light.
Well, is there like
heaven.
a headlight? Is our car coming through there or something?
Yeah,
like
but
that?
it's daytime, so why would this be happening? It's some sort of hang on. Let me close this, so maybe it'll mute things a little bit. All right, whatever. All right. I was getting discouraged last month, Kenny. I went to Scotland. We'd taken a lot of time off from the show. Had a great time with Scotland. I don't even know if we've talked about it yet, really. But
we haven't talked about anything. We've been gone a long time.
Okay. But I'm aware of all these podcasts, these super high produced podcasts. And I'm seeing Tom Hanks's guest. My old friend Julia Louis-Dreyfus started one. Her first guest is like Jane Fonda. And I'm listening to the show, and it's Fran Lebowitz, and she's hysterical. And, you know, we have trouble getting guests and building an audience. And I was getting really discouraged. But then I talked to my friend Kenny Seisler. Do you remember this? And I said, Kenny, I'm getting discouraged by this. What, are we just, wasting our time? How could we possibly compete with these other shows? And Kenny said, we don't have to.
Wisdom.
You remember your wisdom?
I wonder what he was trying to say.
What he was saying is we are what we are. Now, that doesn't mean we don't want to build a bigger audience, but we don't need these super guests. We don't need to compete with them. We don't need this great production value and all things. This is our show, and we keep trying to build it based on what we are. That was a sobering thought, right?
Well, very unlike me to come up with a sobering thought, but nevertheless.
Exactly. So anyway, the point is, Kenny, I am renewed with vigor.
Good. Listen, it's not that, I think we would like to have, all those guests and stuff like that, but I enjoy doing this show, and I think doing something for the sake of enjoyment is enough reason to do something. Yes,
and we have an opportunity, as we have taken advantage of for the last couple of years, of being very, very honest. I watch all the shows out there, and I really enjoy them. I've listened to all of Julia's shows, and I really enjoy them. But they're not all talking about the truth of life and marriage and relationships and incontinence and hernias and things. And there is a value, I think, to what two guys in their mid-60s and their families and their kids and all that are going through.
I guess I'm not really doing this to better mankind or humankind. I actually am doing it because I get a real kick out of it. And it's nice every once in a while to hear. When I was back in New York, and I saw an old friend, and I told her about my podcast, and she sent it to her son, who's like 22 years old. She hadn't listened to it, and she couldn't believe how much her son loved it and thought it was hysterically funny and great fun. And I thought, well, okay, that's nice.
Well, I think that that's true, and we deserve that feather in our cap, but I think that it's funny because usually we start with a premise that's somewhat, at least, interesting. I'm sure you want to talk about Richard Dreyfuss's comment, and I do too.
Oh, yeah, I did post that on Facebook. Did you see that?
And I'd like to talk about, you asked me a question a couple of weeks ago about my marriage that failed with my children and things like that. And I had some insights, and I thought, let's just talk about that shit. Okay. So go.
Okay. You want me to talk about your failed marriage?
If you want to start with failed marriage, or we could start with Richard Dreyfuss.
Well, listen, there's been a lot going on. We've been gone for almost a month. In that time, you went to Scotland.
I went to Scotland.
I went to New York.
Lives.
There's just like so much going on. I don't really know where to start. I will say this: was having a conversation with my friend the other day, and we were bemoaning what was going to be the future for young people nowadays, because a lot of conversations about AI losing jobs.
There we go.
Conversations about just rights going away, freedoms going away, all these things that now the ability to buy a house or to be able to attain some of the dreams that we had. And we find ourselves saying, and I think this might be the first for a generation to actually find itself saying, well, thank God I won't be around for that. We're first generation, I think, is actually going, boy, I'm glad we'll be dead by the time that happens.
It's funny you say it. It's funny. It's funny. Yeah. It's interesting that you say that, because I said that the other day.
Yeah.
I said that to my kid. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with all this, but I'm not going to be around.
I know. And we say it like it's good. I never heard my parents ever say, they would say, oh, well, I hope I'm around to see that. Wouldn't it be
Well, of
great?
course.
Yeah.
Right. My mother, she was 94, hanging on by threads, but she was sticking around because she wanted to see how this resolved.
Right.
She intended to stick around. And I'm
now when you hear people talk about how people are going to communicate and AI and all of that stuff, you go, wow, I don't know. This sounds awful. So, yeah, anyhow. So on that optimistic note, but I do think there is something to be said for the fact that getting to know each other and talk about our individual histories. Because I did not know a lot about you, even though we've been friends for I don't know how many years.
Since 1990, Kenny.
Right. So were you married when we first met, and who did you marry?
No, I was just recently divorced when we first met.
Okay.
So Comic Strip Live for me was a dating playground. I was, lost and wounded. I'd been married. I've been with somebody for 10 years. And now, suddenly I'm getting this attention. I've got money coming in. I buy a house. And so I took advantage in all the wrong ways. But this was not the woman who broke up with you and you were so angry that you snuck into the house. No, but that was during that time, Kenny. Okay. So let's go back. I want to hear about this. Which one? Sneaking into the... Well, I want to hear about... There was a time that you were dating a girl. Did you love her? Yeah. Well, I thought so, but see, I've always had white knight syndrome, so there was so much work to be done that I was addicted to being a good guy. I was addicted to all the ways that I thought that I could help someone who was talented and beautiful and charismatic. Yeah, that's what they show you in the rom-coms. That's what they show you in the rom-coms. Yeah, except for the drug addict. The win guy. The I used to say in that relationship, if this were a movie, I'm Tom Hanks. Do you understand that the audience is rooting for me, which is a horrible thing to say to someone. But that, Kenny, was after Comic Strip Live. I got divorced. I met this woman during Comic Strip Live, got involved. The show ended. I went through a couple of really lean years in terms of work and things. And then she broke up with me. I snuck back into our house and I hid under the bed while she screwed another man. That's the Reader's Digest version. You really did. Boy, that cut to the chase. Cut to the chase. Well, I thought you were going to a little tell the story. Yeah, tell the story, but that's okay. Oh no, it's we'll tell people to read the book. Read the book or go to the movie, because what a great scene to start a movie. You're probably wondering, how I got here. It's such a footnote, and the young lady died of a drug overdose 10 years after this. So it's a tragic, horrible story, and obviously I had nothing. Still, when I heard the story, not only did you were in the house to get your stuff back. Yeah. Then you were convinced that they had gone out to dinner because you saw them pull away from. No, you got to remember, this is my house. Right. This is your house. I had sort of given to her, so I was living there. So I had a reason to be there. And she had just broken up with me and said, hey, get out of the house. I have a date coming over. So it was nevertheless, you were waiting for them to leave the house so that you could get back. Yeah, so that I could go and get my stuff and then pretend like, oh, I knew we were going to break up. I got my stuff weeks ago. I'm sorry I never met. I was looking for some power position. They came back. I
But you
assumed they
saw them
forgot.
leave the house together. You assumed they were going to
Right.
be gone for a couple of hours.
I went to the house, assumed they'd be gone, get my stuff. No one would be the wiser. They came back and I said, okay, she forgot something. She's going to change shoes or something, right? So looking for a place to hide. Okay, it can't be the closet. What if she's changing clothes? There's no other place except I thought, I'll go into the bed. I'll just go into the bed. Well, they decided to stay home and screw all night. So
okay. So how long were they screwing were they making noises?
well, Kenny, I didn't really bring my watch out. At
Did it
that
seem
time.
like a
it
long
was
time?
all fucking night.
Wait, they were fucking all night?
All night long.
Was she saying things like, "You're so much better than Gary"?
No, but she was saying the exact same things that she said to me, like, "Oh my God, you're so big."
Wait, really? Wow.
Yeah, little sexual things. That was like me last week.
And
It was a horrible feeling.
Didn't you want to just speak up and say, "Hey"?
No,
That's what you
because
said to me.
The guy was big. He would have destroyed me. I would be dead, and it would a justifiable homicide. There's a man under our bed. I'm dead in that situation. So I remained quiet until the next morning. I fell asleep. Wait a second. By the way.
So you fell asleep.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was nighttime and it's hours. I can't get out. Eventually,
you're laying on your stomach. Asleep. You're laying on your back.
I'm on my back the whole time. There was really no room to move around.
Oh wow! I can't believe you were able to sleep. I couldn't sleep.
I didn't try to sleep. I just fell asleep. You're waiting, and the next thing I knew, the sun was coming up. Good thing you didn't
snore.
Your mouth to God's ears. Yeah, absolutely. It's a good thing I didn't snore.
Okay. Well,
the next morning they left, and I snuck out, and I've only started telling people this recently. I figured,
wow.
It's over.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that she passed.
Yeah, it's very tragic. I mean, she was really a remarkable human being, but she suffered from drugs, which I tried to get her off of, which created an antagonistic relationship. She was mad at me when I'd say, no, I don't want to do cocaine.
No.
And she died of all that years and years later.
Yeah, once you're people who are on drugs, it really becomes one of those things that you try to help them, but you're always in danger of being pulled down their rabbit hole with them.
But you asked, Ken, and we won't not talk about my love life much longer. And I always like to preface everything because my wife does love this show. I'm the happiest married man in the world. Happiest guy. I have the greatest wife in the world. But she's not the mother of my children. That came
I hope you just didn't make an announcement. She's going to be shocked.
Well, I have 2 kids from a marriage after the bed incident and all that stuff. I, got my life together and I met someone. We had children. Mm-hmm. But you asked me once what happened with that. And, this was like 17, 18 years ago now that we've been divorced. She came to me one day and said, I've never felt about you the way a wife should feel about her husband. Now, that's pretty devastating words. That's even worse than I love you, but I'm not in love with you, right? I've never felt about you this way. Mm-hmm. I called my therapist and said, hey, is this something you can recover from? And she said, no.
Oh, really?
That's it. This is not something you can jumpstart.
Well, that's an honest therapist.
It's an honest therapist, and I guess my ex-wife was being honest too. But it was devastating. She was.
But you were in love with her when she said that, or did you already feel like the marriage was?
No, I was in love with her, and we had 2 beautiful young kids, and I.
So that was a shock to you.
Yeah, it was a shock to me, more or less. More or less. There were issues and things like that. Nothing comes out of nowhere. We had financial issues and things but I thought it was all fixable.
How old were the boys at that point?
1 and 6.
Did the 6-year? How did this? Was it tough?
That's Chris, and he took it badly. He still carries scars from it. Huh. But the only reason I bring that up is it's because you asked, and so that you sort of understand. Mm-hmm. In retrospect, Kenny, because you've never been divorced, and we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Well, in retrospect, It's the best thing that ever happened. The best thing that happened in my relationship with my kids. I met
Your divorce
Shannon.
was absolutely the best.
Well, of course it was.
Well, I'm gonna play this for my wife.
Well, of course it was, because you can't really have a happy marriage with someone who doesn't feel about you the way a wife should feel about her husband. So, in as painful as it was to accept, now I look in the rearview mirror and everything in my life is better.
Yes, no.
So that's the
great.
nice bow to put on.
Absolutely.
So how on God's green earth?
Yes.
I mean, how do you get married and stay married? Now, I intend to stay with Shannon until I die, but that's like 6 years from now. So how do you're married how many years?
40 years. We just celebrated
40 years.
Yes. Yeah, 40 years.
How do you do that? How do you do that?
You just get up every day and go, I kind of I like it here. I don't want to. At the end of the day, I feel like I'm just going to go home.
Right.
I mean, and children do change everything, and that was really it. I mean, I think Deborah and I are so committed to children that it didn't become about our happiness; it became about their happiness. And I was fine with that. Yeah. So that was it, and I don't have any regrets because it turned out great for me. So that's it. But there were, a lot of, listen, the most difficult thing about a marriage, I think anyhow, is the idea of, and I always have trouble saying it because I don't think I believe in it. Monogamy. Yeah, that thing that they expect you to have. Yeah, that's the thing that you go, holy shit, this just doesn't seem natural.
Well, yeah, we don't have to go into details here.
No, there's no details, but it is one of those things that you go into a marriage and you go, it seems not right somehow. What do they do in the animal kingdom? We should always go by what they do in the animal kingdom. What is the animal kingdom doing about this?
Well,
are they doing monogamy?
The animal kingdom dies in a regular cycle. They don't have medications and things to stay alive. We would be dead 4 years, just 60 years ago. We're already dead by law of averages, right? So we live so long. At this point in my life, Kenny, monogamy is not hard. I don't want to go through all that work. Monogamy is easy for me at this point.
No, I get that, but I'm saying, when you're in your 30s and your 40s and you're married and you have children, whatever. I mean, it's not just that. I mean, people change and you grow up, you have different needs. I mean, people do not stay the same. But the same common interest that me and my wife has always had is that we just get a great thrill out of our kids, and our kids were just so great and fun or whatever. I didn't, and listen, it's not a crime. My parents, who argued constantly, hated each other, but it was no secret. They would just go, and we go, please get a divorce. Please, we can't take it anymore. Go. And they'd say, no, we stay together for the children. And we go, the children don't want you to stay together.
The children want you to get divorced.
Yes, please. And they would say, no, we're staying together for the children. And that's what they did.
My parents bickered, but that was their relationship. If you had said, "Hey, you guys must not love each other," they would have looked at me cross-eyed and go,
"See, that's like a white wasp word." They bickered. No ethnic family, no Jewish family, no Italian family.
Jewish families don't bicker.
They never bickered. Okay.
What is the word? They
argued. They fought.
Vetched.
Yeah.
Kvetches,
no. That's just something we do, to anybody else. But no, it would be an argument. It'd be emotional and charged. It wouldn't be a bicker. So
wouldn't be a bicker. Well, my parents were. I told you to take a left turn. Don't listen to me. Well, last time you told me to turn right, we ended up in the parking lot at Casey's.
Yeah. Well, that's cute, but it's not.
It was annoying.
Yeah.
It was annoying, but it's who they were. But now,
so enough. Do you want? So should we turn to the world?
Yeah, let's turn to the world, Kenny.
Boy, oh boy, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, I know that I'm going to try to get this thing on the air so it can be somewhat timely. But did you watch CNN last night?
No, I watched it on excerpts. I get too much anxiety to watch things live. I don't even watch debates live.
So let me ask you something. Was it a good move that CNN did this, or a
No.
bad move?
No, it's another opportunity for this incredibly insane human thing to keep propagating lies about the election, denying his sexual predatory past. I mean, it's another pulpit.
Well, quoting the
his
CNN
people.
guy, Chris Licht, I think, he's saying,
Yeah.
well, these are the things that we need to see. You need to have that out there as a public record.
No, it's
And so
already
people
out there
can
in
make-
public record.
And people
I saw
can
no
make their
value.
own minds.
Yeah, but they don't.
I did not watch it. It'll be curious. A lot of people might not, but people on Facebook are saying, well, no more CNN for me. They're on my.
Well, I don't blame CNN. I don't look at it that way. It's
Yeah.
not another line to divide us
Yeah.
necessarily, but it was just unnecessary. Anytime I see that person and that syphilitic face of orange pores,
I get that. But anytime I hear people applaud when he says those things, then I get like really frightened.
but it's so it's just like, I can't think of his name. He's the correspondent on the Daily Show, asking about, he goes to Trump
Klepper?
rallies.
I think his name is
Klepper, Jordan Klepper.
Jordan Klepper.
And he said the most amazing thing when he was talking to a woman about, the lies that Trump has said, and if that changes her mind, she paused and said, I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care.
I know.
That's not going to change.
I know.
They love. Trump said last night, watch this court case with the
Mhm.
sexual abuse is going to earn me votes.
Mhm.
It's going to gather momentum for me. He knows what's going on, and that's what happens. They love it. The more they love the fact that he's so Teflon in their world, the more we throw at him, no matter how egregious his lies are. He knows that his fan base gets excited. And when they get excited, they end up growing a little.
When was the last time you had a conversation with a Trump supporter?
Well, recently, always on Facebook. There's somebody,
Facebook.
I mean,
Okay.
yesterday.
Okay, because so from this thing, has it dented that money? I have, not me personally, but I have heard some Trump supporters say they support him, they like him. It's just they're tired, and that's why they won't vote for him. They're tired.
I've heard that, and there's a lot more who are pretending not to like him. They're going, well, we like Ron DeSantis, or they're looking for alternatives to show us how rational they are.
Mhm.
But truth is, they'll get right back into the Trump wagon. If he's the candidate, they will be as zealous as ever.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
I don't know.
still
Should we
scary,
delve into
Ken.
other things that are happening in the world?
Well,
What
let's
else is
talk about,
going on?
I mean, this is serious stuff, but you mentioned Richard Dreyfuss's quote about
Well, because there was
engineering the Academy Awards. And
yeah,
I
because
think
a lot
right.
of people, there was controversy, and it seemed to be there were like, people pushing back, like, what an idiot he is, how stupid. I can't believe he said that. And somebody called him a grumpy old actor who's just bitter because he's not getting any work.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
And so I said, well, what did he say? What did he say? What did he say? And then I read what he said was the whole thing with the Academy having rules and requirements for diversity and people of different races not being able to play roles of different races or different things. And, I was like, yeah, I completely agree with everything he said. So yeah, in this woke world, which I know is supposedly a bad word, but anyhow, he got like criticized, and I think,
Right.
and I'm like, well, okay, well, I kind of agree. I don't think, I think a white person, I think a white person should be able to play a black guy. I think a black guy should be able to play a white person. I don't care as long as they capture the character. They capture the character and of the thing, and do a great job acting. I don't care.
What those who are opposed to what Richard Dreyfuss says, and what we're saying too, is that we're somehow denying the need for diversity. We're denying this opportunity to create diversity, that we're somehow against it necessarily. No, I'm completely for diversity.
Right.
Completely.
Too, right. Exactly.
But you create diversity by creating opportunities, by creating channels for diversity. If you put rules quotas into the rewards for films for creating art, then you're trying to engineer diversity. It's not authentic. You know what I mean? It's like if you have to have so many people of color nominated for this or etc., that's engineering the right thing to do or the right result, but it's not doing it the correct way. It's not doing it in an honest way.
Yeah, I mean, listen, everything is about context. And I think that, I think he mentioned like when Olivier did Othello. Yeah, apparently, he captured the words and the artistic and he moved the audience. It wasn't this stereotypical portrayal, a racist portrayal of a black man.
No, it was a realization of Shakespeare's play.
Right.
Everyone means well. They mean well. But I think that saying that a black actor can't play a Caucasian character or a Caucasian actor can't play is actually a racist point of view. It's putting race into the situation. The other day I posted this thing called, it said woke is being used by the right wing for anything negative about the left wing. Woke environment and all of that stuff. So I wrote this little woke pledge that I'm proud to be woke. I'm proud to be conscious. I'm proud to have been awakened. I hope to be awakened to more injustices, something like that. And a well-meaning liberal wrote to me and says, you can't use the word woke. You're appropriating it because that comes from black culture. And I said,
I didn't know that.
But by saying that I can't use a word that has created a meaning, isn't that, and saying only black people can use it, isn't that kind of creating a racist divide?
Well, this goes back to the thing I was saying. Well, I don't know. Getting back to the thing. Well, thank God we're going to be dead soon. We don't have to deal
exactly.
with this.
That would have been a perfect end to this episode. Too. Thank God we're going to be dead soon.
Well, let me bring up something controversial because that's my nature.
Yeah.
I'll get in trouble for this, and I understand why it's insensitive to people. When I was in school, 14 years old or whatever, I was really turned on by Mrs. Montalbano, my Spanish teacher. She was
I like where this is going, Kenny.
Sexy.
I like where it's going.
And so if she had taken me back and molested me.
Okay, now you just took a turn.
I would not have complained. I would have absolutely said I encourage her and all the other good-looking teachers to take the young men back. Now, I don't think they should do this to girls, and I don't. But when I read in the paper, and it seems to be a lot of them, especially on Fox News or Fox whatever, of them showing attractive teachers who are being arrested for having sex with young males, I kind of am going, you see, you're discouraging that behavior, and I'm not really sure.
I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
I think from the young Kenny's point of view, it's like, wow, it's a fantasy. But you have to admit that from an adult, a teacher who is tutoring children, that was probably a bad choice. Perhaps
wacky.
It was not a bad choice.
I would have been a bad choice. I would have been. This is terrible. What's happening to the young boys today who are not getting the proper education?
Yes, I don't think we can encourage that behavior from hot teachers.
I just don't think we should discourage them and show mugshots of them. I think that probably makes other teachers.
Well, it would be nice if
vetting a young man.
Right. It would be nice if there was some propriety in the news to sort of keep stories private.
Well, anyhow, I'll be using that in my campaign when I start running for office.
This will be pulled out. Well, you know what? Yeah. Just like Trump, you may get votes for that point of view. Let's encourage.
You will, because he got
predatory.
I don't think he has
female teachers.
He doesn't have
young
to register. He doesn't have to register as a sexual predator.
Who,
because
Trump?
It wasn't criminal. Yeah, he doesn't have to register if it was a criminal case, he would have to register as a sexual predator. But I do know that among sexual predators, he's now the #1 Republican choice. So his poll numbers went right up on all sexual predators out there.
And regardless, it doesn't change. Look, he is still the poll leading Republican in the race. Now, DeSantis hasn't declared, but Trump is the leading Republican after all of this, after proven lies about the election, court cases, fraud, proven.
And you know what's going to put him over the top?
#1 candidate.
And you know what's going to put him over the top? When he goes out on Fifth Avenue and shoots somebody.
That's what he says.
Yeah. That'll send him right into the White House.
Well, you know what, Kenny? At least we won't be alive for this.
Amen to that.
I expect to be alive next year.
That should be our new name of our show. At least we won't be alive.
At least we won't be alive. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Kenny, we're doing short shows now, and I don't mind that. I'd like to do more shows in short like this. I think this is a perfect little wrap up.
Oh, really? I thought we had so much to talk about. You went to Scotland?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's keep talking then. Let's keep talking.
I feel like we have a lot of catching up to do.
Let me tell you this about Scotland, Kenny, and I know you were there. In fact, I followed some of your footsteps in Edinburgh. Mm-hmm. Here's what I heard more than anything when we'd go to bars, and first of all, we'd go to pubs, and Scotsmen, Scotswomen would come up to us and go, "You're from America," and we go, well, "How do you know?" "Your teeth. You've got such nice teeth. You care so much about your teeth."
Huh.
The Americans are obvious. We smile, and it's like, oh, there's some dental work that's been done there.
Really? So that's true. I thought that went away, that whole idea of the UK not having good teeth.
No, I think it's still pretty clear. Americans love to smile, and they've got usually, effervescent teeth.
And that's usually
that's what they said to us. We could tell from your teeth.
Is that usually before the Americans pull out their AR-15? That's smile?
That's the other thing. Two more things they asked consistently, and I'm not making this up, because we met people in bars and we talked politics. What is with you fucking Americans and all the fucking guns? Do you all carry guns there?
Yeah.
We had one, shooting in a school, and now guns are gone. And guess what? There's no more shooting in the schools. What's wrong? And here's the other thing. You're such a fucking rich country. Why don't you have health care for everyone? What's going on there that you don't have? I can't believe you can't just go to a doctor when you've got a problem, and they can't believe this country.
Well, I'm at the point, and I'll be honest with you. This is, again, going to get me not many fans, but I don't love America.
I don't love it.
I love the idea when I was in school, and they taught me all the phenomenal things about freedom and all the wonderful things and liberty and our values.
Should be. I love what I still believe we could be, what we should be. I love, the story's been so whitewashed that, Washington didn't even stand like this crossing the Delaware. He was huddled in back with some coats over him.
Is that true?
I love well, it's just... Yeah, I made that up.
Okay.
But my point is, the images of how America was founded are largely a fairy tale. Mm-hmm. But I've loved that fairy tale, and I've loved the components that created that fairy tale that were on a journey toward freedom. Mm-hmm. But, you can't deny the hiccups along the way, like slavery and, so on and so forth. But I believe that the direction of America is to create a beacon of equality, of freedom, of justice. And the Europeans that we would meet go, "We used to just love your country. Well, I've always wanted to go there, but now you've just gone to shite." Well, that's how I feel too. I love, just like you said, the promise of America, the idea of America. Mm-hmm. But where we're going now is
we went to shite.
We went to shite. We're thinking about moving to Scotland, except they don't want us. They don't want expats. It'd be very hard to get a visa.
I know. And if Trump becomes president, everybody's talking about leaving. We would leave. I just need to be near my, children. So
that's the problem. Then the whole family has to leave.
I know. Are you happier now than you've ever been?
Yeah.
That's what Jane Fonda said. Not about
Well,
you. She said in an article or something like that, she now in her life at 80 years old, she's the happiest she's ever been.
Yeah. Well, we're going to ask you in a second, but let me answer that question.
Mhm.
I'd love to have more money. I mean, we're okay. We're comfortable. We're fine. I don't, I do a lot of things that don't make money. I volunteer for.
No, but it's not about money. It's about just where you are as a person.
Right. I'd love to travel more and stay in nicer hotels.
Those are economic, financial things, considerations.
Okay. In terms of where I am, who I'm with, who I am, the things that I get to do, my health that I've been working on hard for the last year, I'm happier than I've ever been.
And you know why I think that is? And you know why I think Jane Fonda is? And you know why I think I am to a certain extent?
Good. That's what I wanted to hear.
What happens later in life is our sexual drive becomes less and less and less. And our sexual drive clouds everything. And we think our only happiness is going to come from us getting...
No pun intended.
What did I say?
Going to come. I was
is when we're not anxious about how we look to other people. We're not anxious about whether or not we're good in bed or they're good in bed or our sexuality or all of these things that get tangled up in emotions and relations. And once you get to this point in your life where it's like, you know what? Your genitalia is not does not have a lot of control over your moods. You're like a lot calmer. You're like a neutered animal. You're neutered.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, definitely. There's definitely a mental physical change. Mm-hmm. And my wife and I are both going through the changes, Mm-hmm. We still, this is an honest podcast. Mm-hmm. We can still make monkey love. Mm-hmm. We can still hang from the rafters. But whereas as a kid, as a younger person, if that didn't happen regularly, I would feel a deficiency in my life. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, hey, if that can happen once a month, every other month, great. But I need my blood pressure.
I'm actually making love to a monkey because that's all I have left now, Gary.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But
if I could get it down for that fucking rafter, I would fuck his brains out.
Every once in a while, barbed wire, a little baby oil, Mm-hmm. But to your point, I think that our priorities are more focused on the relationship, the conversation, the feelings. Without
we start to do that thing. We start to do our thing that our parents used to do. Where you go, as long as you have your health. No, it's just as long as you have your health. Doesn't matter. Yeah. And we do the same thing with our kids.
And that sounded like defeat to us as kids. Like I'll never say that, but it's true.
Yeah.
Look, this last year for both of us, Kenny, but I know that, I had major surgery and twisted my knee. Mm-hmm. I've been working hard on getting into shape so that I won't be in a wheelchair for the last part of it. Mm-hmm. Thank God I have my health.
The movie that I think shows the future more than anything is the Disney movie WALL-E. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I love WALL-E.
Yeah, we're just all fat and in those movable chairs, so we never have to get up.
Yeah.
I think that's what's
that is where technology ultimately is going toward less movement, things happening faster, having to do less with our digits and things, having more things come to you. Mm-hmm. I mean, we are gravitating to a sedentary society. Don't you think?
Yeah, no, and thank God we'll be dead by then. Speaking of other things that will be dead by, so does AI going to impact your life or your wife's life at all, or your kid's life? Is it going to have any?
Well, I think it's going to impact everybody on some level. It isn't in our purview at this point in anything that we do. It isn't being discussed where Shannon works in terms of managing websites and things like that. But content becoming AI is going to affect everybody.
Okay. Well, no, I mean it's already impacting businesses out here. I know in my daughter's work where she's marketing for a company called Fashion File or whatever. They've already, are using it to come up with, I don't want to slug lines, I guess, one-liners describing products and things like that.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of copywriters who no longer are needed.
Right.
And you're in advertising.
True. I'm in advertising. I'm retired 3 years, and I'm still doing copy written by a copywriter. We're always a little slower here in the Midwest to get on whatever the new trend is. So it hasn't really hit us here yet in terms of what it can mean to reduce jobs and eliminate human creativity. But we saw it coming. I mean, I was in advertising, and it's the business of gathering information from your habits, how you navigate, how quickly you navigate away from something, all the information of what you buy and what color you buy. It's this aggregate.
Well, as part of the Writers
Guild, Kenny and Gary.
As part of the Writers Guild, they're on strike, is the fact of what's the word? Making sure that AI doesn't take over jobs for writers. The question that I have, and as a matter of fact, I was with Gary Marsh, who used to be head of Disney and is now has his own production company. He's going to be on our show. That'll be interesting. Anyhow, the thing is, our conversation was, can you stop progress? Can you keep technology at bay? Because you have certain people like Elon Musk, and even the guy who said we should stop doing AI until we realize what's going on. We shouldn't be exploring it.
Right.
Is that plausible?
No.
Has it ever been done?
You can't stop it, because somebody's going to do it, and it's going to work, and it's going to make them money, and then it's exponential. You can't stop it. We have to find a way to regulate it, adjust to it. I mean, I don't know where it's going. I don't.
The more you read about it, the more you realize
ideas. I don't see how a concept for a sitcom is coming out of AI.
Oh yeah, it is. It's unbelievable. As a matter of fact, I mean, my friend Gary was showing me. He asked AI to put together picture. Oh, my son was showing me too. Like my son is a manager, as you know, talent manager. Yeah. He asked. Somebody came up with a pitch, and they said the pitch is kind of like the show is kind of like a combination of Star Wars and I forget what other show. And so they asked AI. They said, come up with a police show, a Star Wars police show. And AI kicked out in seconds this amazing graphic of a poster of a police show in a Star Wars, look.
Well, I guess I was a little naive saying that. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Well, and in the negotiations with producers, the writers said there must be one of the demands was a certain amount of human being writers. And they said, we aren't going to go there at this point. They're hedging that bet, aren't they? That we might not need writers.
No, they are absolutely hedging their bet. And they absolutely see the more, like my friend Gary at Disney, and the things that AI can do as far as taking photographs, combining it, coming up with names for things, telling, if you said, and people have also done this, have said, I want you to come up with a sitcom that is a Latino sitcom that takes place in Manhattan. And AI goes into all the database and all the information and spits out a name of a show and a script. Now, I will say this, that a lot of it is, drawn from stuff, and it's not, but it looks pretty authentic. It's frightening.
Well, look, here's a scary way to look at it. I mean, take a look at our cell phone, this technology, what it is now. Go back just to Alexander Graham Bell, right? Let's imagine AI is just where Alexander Graham Bell was with the telephone. Right. So imagine 100 years from now, why will we need actors? Why do we need anybody?
Thank God we'll be dead by then, Gary.
Thank God. I think that
I have never looked forward to dying as much as I have today.
Thank God we'll be dead by then. Yeah. I don't think we'll see it. And it's hard to put time on it because technology is exponential. 50 years today isn't what 50 years was 150 years ago.
Well, there's no question. I look at my 100-year-old mother-in-law. You think back in 1923, what was going on there, and now,
Yeah.
it's just
Well, the fact that we wouldn't even consider talking about this 3 years ago. Just 3 years ago. I mean, there was artificial intelligence and a few movies came out and wow, that's wacky. But we wouldn't be having this conversation. We're now having this conversation with a little bit of genuine fear of how fast it's going and how big it's getting.
See, that's also another thing that I talk about. The earlier generations would hear about these pie in the sky technologies and they go, wow, I can't wait to see it. Won't that be something? And now we talk about the pie in the sky technologies and we're terrified.
Yeah, because never before were we becoming obsolete.
Yes.
This is replacing us.
Soon we are going to be replaced by AI. And if anybody could do my intelligence, it's an artificial intelligence, because I've been doing artificial intelligence for years now. So I'm easy. Yeah.
So well, if we did an AI Gary and Kenny show, I mean, that frees up a lot of time.
I don't want to free up a time. I want to do this. I enjoy doing this.
I want to be with you.
And we need to do this. We're going to start getting on a regular schedule again to do this. We have Gary Marsh, who was the president of Disney. Yeah. He discovered Hannah Montana, Selena Gomez. Even Stevens. His list of stars and people that
will be a fun one.
I also invited Mark Cohn to be on the show.
Okay.
Mark is zany and funny, and so he'll come on the show because I love zany and funny.
You love zany.
If I could only get zany and funny on the show at the same time, then I would be thrilled. So
put zany and funny into AI and see who comes up.
That's what? That was also part of the discussion. I believe AI will be able to do drama, but it will not be able to do comedy. Comedy, AI cannot do.
Now that's interesting, because I would think actually that why wouldn't it be able to create? AI could learn irony.
But it won't learn funny. And the reason it won't learn funny, and this is what I told Gary, is because, and I like to consider myself a humorous person, I make people laugh, is that so much a part of comedy is being on the wavelength of the human being you're with. You have to be on that, I don't know.
Or the room.
Or the room, or that
temperature of the room.
The temperature of the room, the wavelength of the room.
Changes the timing.
Timing and delivery and intonation. And those are things that an AI can never be. It can never be in the room.
Replace amusement parks.
It can't?
I mean, seriously, how would you can't artificially go on a roller coaster.
No, but it could design one.
Yes. Yeah. But I'm saying there are activities, there are things. I mean, maybe you could recreate going on whitewater rapids, but still the actual experience of water and rocks and.
You know who I'm going to book on this show? You know what I'm going to book on this show?
Who? What?
AI. We're going to have my friend come on who is artificially intelligent.
Let's do it.
And we'll talk to him.
Yeah. Kenny, I'm going to go back to my non-artificial life now.
Okay. I'm going to the dentist.
You're going to the dentist. That won't be artificial. No, I'd like to hear about it. And I'm going to authentically mow my lawn. All right. I would love artificial intelligence to take over.
Well,
robots.
I thought they'd call that teenagers.
Not in my house. No, robots.
Isn't that something?
It's a robot we don't have.
And I really apologize to people because they know they want us to wrap up. But that was my job. When I was a kid, I didn't have gardeners. I mowed the lawn. I was me and my brother. We had to mow the lawn. We fought about it. But that was our responsibility. Take out the garbage.
I wasn't allowed to eat dinner unless I cleaned my room.
Yeah, clean your room. Right, exactly.
And I don't blame my kids though. I blame me. Somehow I fucked up. I just wasn't
it's not you.
Strong
it's me.
enough parent.
No, it's not me. It's them.
Is it them?
It's them. Okay. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
By
accept
the way,
that.
so the reason I was bringing up that actor before, that guy Ezra Miller,
Yeah.
that's was Ezra, is that they were saying that he identifies himself as they. Okay. And
Okay.
then they went on to tell all the things that Ezra Miller has done, but they referred to him as they. So now I'm reading this article and I'm completely confused because as they're talking about Ezra Miller, they keep saying, so they assaulted a woman. They stole from this. They did this. By the time it got down to all the list of what they did, I couldn't remember who the fuck we were talking about.
Because you had created a mob in your mind too.
Yeah.
Yes, they
did this. They who?
That group of
That.
people. Yeah,
and it was all him.
Yeah,
but I couldn't call him because he was they.
Well, that's another show. We've touched on it before too. Is navigating.
Harry, what's the matter with
me? Yeah. I had a conversation just yesterday saying, look,
what's the matter with me?
I respect whoever you identify yourself as. Of course. It's not my choice. It's yours. I respect that. But you need to give me the respect of making mistakes or the latitude, because I've been a certain way for 66 years and it's worked for me and in my world. So I'm going to make mistakes. Don't get angry.
I disagree. I'm saying that, okay, so Ezra Miller, let's say, goes to court, right? And there's a transcript of the court, okay? And they say, okay, Ezra Miller, you are accused of so-and-so, okay? And he says, okay, how do you plead? He says, they plead innocent. Okay, they plead. Okay.
Right.
So,
they did it.
They did it.
Who did it? They did it.
So I'm just, it becomes a Marx Brothers routine to me, where it's becoming, well, who did it? They did it. Well, who's they?
They did it. They did it.
Yes, where were you? No, it wasn't me. It was them.
They are on second. Yes. Well,
so, I don't know.
All right. That's
a whole legal ramifications, Gary. Legal ramifications.
Well,
all right.
At least we won't be alive to see it.
Yeah.
Actually, we will be. We will be. Some of this we will see. Some of it we will.
Yeah, I know.
I just hope it's reasonably bucolic right before I die. I go, oh, okay, everything worked out. I'd like to have that moment before I go. I'd hate to see everything falling apart and a fire, and then I'm gone.
I'm not. You see, the thing that I'm frightened most is that my last words are going to be, "Oy vey."
Of course, I promise you they will be. I promise you they will.
Oy vey. All right. Have they ever heard oy vey? Like if I was out there.
Of course, we have a Jew here.
You do. What about oy gavout?
Of course.
Okay, let me ask you this.
I grew up in a Unitarian church, and that's an amalgam of all faiths and non-faiths.
When I was growing up, they didn't know.
We didn't have a synagogue, so the Jews families came to the Unitarian church.
When I was growing up, and Bill, let me ask you this question. You know about a bialy? A bialy?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's a bagel and the bialy. And when I was growing up, they were equal. They was like, oh, you want a bagel? You want a bialy? You want a bagel?
Okay.
Well, the bagel, I think the bagel has won overwhelmingly. You don't hear about the bialy.
I have to agree with you on this, Kenny. I think the bagel is a clear-cut winner in the bagel bialy war.
The bialy is dead. Huh.
I don't know that it's dead, but honestly, Kenny,
you think you could still get a bialy?
I've never thought about. Yes, well, that's why this moment.
That's why I have certain value.
I wouldn't even think to ask for a bialy, but I get a bagel almost, every day.
It just occurred to me that when all these people are going buying bagels. I mean, it's a big business, bagel business.
Yeah,
and was thinking, when I was a kid, you could get a bialy too. I like bialys, huh? Well. One day when the bialy is no longer here, I may no longer be here.
Well,
that's it for me and the bialy.
That'll be the day. That'll be the day. I won't be alive to see it.
Did I tell you what I want written on my tombstone?
No, what?
Unsubscribed.
Do I tell you what I want? I think I like yours better.
Oh.
It's a good part, but a lousy plot.
Ah!
Good for an actor, right?
No, but it sounds so much like AI. That's something AI would say.
AI funny tombstone, funny epitaphs for an actor. It's a good.
All right, tell everybody about where they should come back and watch us, and they can see us in all these different places.
We are on DBNA streaming television. We have a YouTube channel. We love it when you go there, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to us. We're on all the popular podcast platforms if you just want to listen, if you don't want to see us. But and we have a Facebook page, The Gary and Kenny Show. I'm Gary. That's Kenny.
I'm
Thank
Kenny.
you all, and we'll see you
thank
next
God,
time.
And hopefully we'll be alive by the time we do the next show.
Hopefully we'll be alive, although that will make for an interesting episode. So long, everyone.